This is Confusional Arousals. The Fountain of Youth. The first Blue Zones. In late February, I spent a weekend in St. Augustine, Florida. It is a wonderful city, a mixture of conservative religious values and college party vibes. I was there for a wedding. My sister and I, her family and my family, decided to go to the Fountain of Youth. It was a very pretty archaeological park near the water, with the actual Fountain of Youth spouting basically city water. I had a drink. I didn't feel much younger, but I also, a while back, kissed the Blarney Stone, and I didn't feel more talkative. Such is the problem with folklore and our modern world, wanting immediate results for all undertakings. Where is the joy of patience? I asked the attendant, and she said that all the water in Florida comes from the aquifer, and all the water given to the public had to be run through the municipal water company for safety. I grumbled to myself about government conspiracies, probably adding fluoride to the water as well. Walking around the park, I came upon a series of huts around a fire pit. There was a guy sitting at a table with various tools and cooking utensils. He obviously worked for the park, and I asked him about the whole fake youth fountain water thing. And he told me the truth. There was nothing special in the water, he said. It had everything to do with lifestyle. Now, Native Americans had lived in the St. Augustine area for thousands of years. The Timucua, and I apologize if I'm getting this wrong, the Timucua were a confederation of tribes who lived in the area before the arrival of the Europeans. They fished, hunted, and cultivated corn, beans, and squash. Chief Saloy was the principal chief of the Timucua in 1565. His tribe was located where the Fountain of Youth Park now is. Many of his people lived into their 80s. They spent most of their time hunting, fishing, and farming, spending very little time indoors. They did not smoke or drink alcohol. They had a healthy diet and exercised naturally, which means they weren't going to the gym or anything. They were just doing a lot of running around. The women worked in the fields and cooked. The men fished and hunted. The older people took care of the young, teaching them the traditions of their people. The Europeans, on the other hand, had a relatively unhealthy lifestyle, eating unhealthy food, drinking alcohol, and doing very little exercise. Their average life expectancy was around 55. No wonder they thought that the indigenous people of the New World had found the secret of eternal youth. Get off your backsides and do something, and stop marrying your sister to keep the wealth in your family. I guess the trick to longevity has not changed that much in 500 years. Eat good, simple food. Get some natural exercise. Don't smoke or drink. Be positive and appreciate your history and culture. Live simply with nature. And don't marry your sister. Another thing I liked about the indigenous people was that around the age of 12 or 13, there was a special ceremony that celebrated the child going into adulthood. And basically what happened is the kid received their adult name. Their personality had already formed. They were who they would be. The gentleman who was giving me this information is called Tall Bear because he was over 6 feet tall when he was 12. I think I may have been named Watchful Fox because I was always aware of the crap that was happening around me. I think if we were all given adult names, life would be much simpler. If you met someone called selfish pig or narcissistic squirrel, you would know to stand clear of them. My interaction with St. Augustine indigenous culture led me to think of an earlier interaction with the original peoples of this country. I wrote an essay a while ago and would like to share it with you because it may give you some hints as to the development of my weird belief system. I was married then, and my wife was part of the story, so I wrote my wife. I am no longer attached in that way, but I will still say my wife as it was originally written. It is called Mountain Elves. A while ago, I took my family on a trip to the Great Smoky Mountains. This is a land steeped in myths and legends of the great Cherokee Nation. They tell stories of little people, mountain elves, whose job it is to take care of the land and the animals in it. The animals include people, too. There are stories of young children who have gotten lost in the woods and are returned to their village by the elves. Man can coexist with these creatures by following some simple rules. If you are good to the animals and take care of the land, they will reward you. But if you mistreat the land or animals, the elves will find some way to get their devious revenge. So, this is the place that I took my family and we had a great time. It was at the end of our vacation week and we were getting ready to leave the next day. We were packing our clothes, doing laundry, and cleaning out the refrigerator. My wife took the container of worms from the refrigerator and threw it in the garbage. I just wanted to pause so you could think about the fact that there were worms in the refrigerator. No, we are not on some weird diet. She had been fishing the whole week, and she was using worms for bait. There were some leftovers, so she threw them out. I turned to her and said, "Hey!" "What?" she said, turning to me. "What did you do? When?" "You threw out the worms," I said with disbelief. "Yeah, and?" she said with almost the same amount of disbelief. "You can't throw out the worms. They are living creatures." She gave me a look that only a wife can give to her husband of 15 years, and then she said, "You deal with it," and walked off. Well, I was determined to deal with it, and I took the worms out of the garbage. I looked around the condo, and I realized almost immediately that the condo was not the right place for worms. I walked outside, and I looked around, because I did not want anyone to see me with my container of worms. There was no one there. I saw a bush, so I walked over to that bush and dug a little hole in the ground. I put the worms in the hole, and I gently covered them up with the cool, moist soil. I looked around again to see if anyone was watching me bury my worms, but no one was there. I ran inside, but almost immediately I realized that I had this empty container of worms, so I threw it out, and I tied up the garbage, and I decided to take out the garbage and thereby get rid of the evidence. So I walked outside to the dumpsters, and I had to pass my mound of worms. Something caught my eye. I threw out the garbage. Slowly, I went over to the mound of worms that I just buried moments before. There was something there. It was a crystal ball. It was about 1.5 inches in diameter, and it was red with black and gray and white specks, and it was placed gently on that pile of worms. I picked it up, and I looked around. There was no one there. Now, I was only inside the condo for about 20 seconds. There was no way that a person could have put that ball there so gingerly without me seeing them. Now, there are lots of explanations possible. You can explain away my amazement with a lot of reasonable thoughts, all very precise and all very boring. You may have a logical explanation for this event, but I will not believe you. I will always believe in my heart of hearts that that magical little ball was given to me by a mountain elf because I was kind to worms. Worms, Roxanne! Worms! Love that movie. Now, I know what you're thinking. I may have had too many espressos, but hear me out. If I believe that this was given to me by a mountain elf, and I have no proof that elves exist, I have never seen, touched, heard, tasted, or smelt one, then what this ball has given me was the belief in the unknown. It has showed me that there are things out there that require no scientific proof to exist. These creatures don't need some scientist or mathematician to document their lives. They just are. Now, if it wasn't strange enough, here where it gets freaky. If I can believe in mountain elves, then I could believe in trolls. I could believe in fire-breathing dragons. I can believe in angels. And I can believe in miracles. This little ball has shown me another universe filled with all sorts of otherworldly creatures. It has revealed to me that my world is more than what is shown to me on the nightly news. It is more than what I hear on the radio or read in the papers. It has shown me the possibilities. But more than that, it has taught me that our world is full of miraculous possibilities. And we just have to live our lives believing that. I realize that this may be difficult. To be able to see the possibilities, we have to peel away the layers of hate and fear and pain, guilt and despair that we have covered ourselves up with our entire lives. And we must replace that negativity with compassion, hope, and faith. I truly believe in mountain elves, but I also believe in the healing power of a hug, a touch, or a smile when it is given to you by a person who wants nothing in return. This, I believe, is the single most important thing that we can do in our lives, to see the world, to see a world that is full of wonderful possibilities. The world is not a given. It is not a bottom line. It is not a final diagnosis. It is a world full of unknown promise. And if we could look at the world through the eyes of a child with wonder at the many gifts life gives us every day, then when a problem blocks our way, we will smile because we believe in miracles. I had another mountain elves experience after I returned from St. Augustine, but the prologue begins there. The first night in my Airbnb, I realized that I had left my contact lens case at home. It was late, and there were no stores around, to my knowledge, that sold toiletries. So I looked around the bathroom, and I found several grocery bags filled with hotel body lotion, shampoo, and conditioner, the single-use size that must have been left by previous visitors. I did not find any contact lens cases. Then, the tops of several bottles of lotion caught my eye. They were metal caps, and they were big enough to store my contacts for the night. Then I could go and get a proper case the next day. So I had a choice here: use the lotion bottle tops or sleep with my contacts in. My contacts were pretty crappy as they were, having expired over a year ago. I admit I haven't gotten my eyes checked out in a while. So I went for the taking them out option. I rinsed the caps and stored my contacts in them, and the next day my eyes felt heavy. But I was too busy doing wedding stuff to find a pharmacy. Saturday night, I stored my contacts in the bottle caps as well. On Sunday, we drove home. I felt tired, but it was probably the lavender and sage body lotion in my eyes. Thankfully, I arrived home without incident. When I took my dog out for a walk that night, I saw something strange in the skies. I thought I saw a sprite flying in the night. I could have said a fairy, but I did not want to be misinterpreted. The fairy I am referring to is a mythical, magical, or supernatural being. Fairies are often described as small, playful, and human-like. I saw a small, winged creature crossing my path in the sky in front of me. I rubbed my eyes, thinking that would make the creature disappear. It didn't. Then I looked at another portion of the sky, and I saw 3 more winged spirits flying about. Then I looked at the stars, and they all had delicate wings of light on them as well. It was beautiful. The sky was filled with magical little creatures looking benevolently down upon me. I smiled back at the heavens. Then I realized that the stationary sprites were the stars, and the moving fairies were airplanes. I had not been drinking or any other such silliness, but then it struck me. It must have been the lotion. My contact lenses probably absorbed some trace amounts of the lotions remaining in the temporary contact lens case. So I vowed that the next day I would exchange my expired lotion lenses with expired unlotioned lenses. I have about 5 more sets of expired contact lenses, and it seems only prudent to use them before buying more. I turned my attention back to the heavens, and I watched my imaginary fairies for several more minutes. So here's the point. Just because you know why something is how it is doesn't make it any less miraculous. In fact, the more you question, the deeper you delve into a subject, the more miraculous it becomes. The James Webb Space Telescope is the newest telescope we have. It is a giant leap forward in our quest to understand the universe and our origins. The telescope was designed and built to examine every phase of cosmic history, from the first luminous glows after the Big Bang to the formation of the galaxies, stars, and planets, to the evolution of our own solar system. Scientists and regular people look at those images from the telescope and feel awe at the beauty and the magnitude of the universe. Science fills us with the true wonder of existence, from the smallest microbe and subnuclear particle to the vastness of the heavens. This is from Ezekiel's vision of God in the holy books. Above the expanse over their heads, there was the likeness of a throne, in appearance like sapphire, and seated above the likeness of the throne was the likeness with a human appearance. Verse 26. This was written to inspire and humble us, which is precisely what science does. Whether we study the smallest or the largest of things, it all proves how insignificant we are when compared to what is out there. We will never understand everything because there are multiple layers upon layers upon layers. As soon as we solve one mystery, another reveals itself. It is the same with the sacred texts. The deeper we probe into our belief system, the more humbled we feel by that system. If we ever say we understand it all, we have become prideful and have lost our way. It seems to me that the scientist who denies religion or the religious believer who denies science are both missing the point. There are many paths to enlightenment, many paths to the truth. But the path that leads us to anger, envy, or hatred is a path that leads us to nothing. I am A.F. Winter, and this has been Confusional Arousals.
Fountain of youth where secrets sleep, mountain elves with laughter deep, pixie stars on a moonless sky, whisper tales that never die. Underneath the ancient trees, we dance to old melodies, moments seen in emerald light, stories weave through endless night. Legends told from days of old make us brave and make us bold. In the shadows magic hums to the beat of elven drums. Crickets sing in harmony, echoing our history. In our hearts the legends flow through the ages. Let